when you have to start thinking about the end. But slowly, we slowly start thinking about the end. And I promise you we have this most amazing closing ceremony up for you. So we really want to know how you've been experiencing for WCWS. If you've made new friends, maybe new allies, maybe new alliances, maybe you're energized, maybe you're drained. I think we should find out. Raymond is among you. Raymond is way in the back. Go talk to the people. Talk to the people, Raymond.
I'm over here because I figure that people in the far back don't actually have a chance to talk. So here I am, and sorry to the people who think they could just hide in the back, okay? Can I talk to you? I saw your name, Sarah. Sarah, would you just tell us who you are and where you're from?
Hi, I'm Sarah, I'm from Sweden, and I've met a lot of friends and allies here.
Good to know, and our conference is about to end. Are you going to miss me and Aldous?
Actually, you have been the best moderators.
That was very sweet to say. If you agree with Sarah, give me and Aldous a big round of applause, people. Yeah. Louder! I'm sorry about that. Okay, how are you doing? Yeah, would you please stand up? Tell us who you are and what's your name, where you're from.
My name is Joy Johnson Green and I'm from Canada.
Yes, people from Canada! And have you made a lot of friends?
I have. I've made so many different friends and just collected a bunch of business cards. That's what I'll be doing at work for the next little while.
Yes, and what is your favorite session so far?
You know, I don't know if I have a favorite one. I think the one that I just went to about women in economic development, that really inspired me to go back and do more and broaden our programming from what we're currently doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our friend. Oh, okay. And hi, you just say hi to me, right? Yeah, I have to come to you. Yes, exactly. Would you say hello to everybody here?
Hello, everybody.
Who you are and where you're from?
Lynn Baguio from the beautiful island of Curacao.
Yes! And I'm just wondering, how are you going to describe to your friends and family about what happened here when you return to your country?
When I return to my country, I want to tell them that this is the most important food conference ever.
Yes! Most uncommon ever! Thank you so much. Thank you.
So while Raymond walks on stage, I would like just one word of appreciation for the photographers and the filmers who've done a fantastic job.
Great job.
Thank you very much. So Raymond, no conference is complete without the conference selfie, right?
Oh yeah, I want to do that.
Okay, so
Take off your glasses.
that's so good for it.
So how are we going to do that? Okay. And how about people in here? Okay. Yes?
We can't see everybody, but just be noisy.
Yes! Woo!
Got that. I'll leave you to what you have to do, and I'll be back later. I'm not done yet.
Thank you to Aldous. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen.
Just one, sorry.
All right, one more thing.
We have arrived. I think we can take another selfie.
Yeah, we would like to take another selfie because one very important person for us to be able to make the Force WCWS in Taiwan possible is that we have the Minister of Foreign Affairs here, Dr. Zhang Xie Joseph Wu. Hi! Yeah. Dr. Wu, we just had a selfie, but now we want to have one with you in there, okay? Yeah, okay, like this. Okay, everybody, let's go! All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to begin our last session with a testimony. Last year, Korean prosecutor Cho Ji-hyun shocked her country and sparked the Me Too movement in Korea when she spoke up about being sexually harassed by her colleague. And now, to tell her story, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Cho Ji-hyun.
Ni hao. Hello everyone. I'm honored to be with you in this great event. My name is Cho Ji-hyun. Let me introduce myself. I'm a prosecutor in South Korea, and I'm so-called the woman who started South Korea's Me Too movement. Does any of you know why? Has any of you seen this image before? This is an image of me appearing on live TV news in January last year. I was talking about sexual abuse I suffered at the hands of senior prosecutor and a series of career setbacks I had to endure after I protested. This interview made me the so-called first Me Too case in South Korea, and it also eventually allowed me to stand here in front of you today. In October 2010, I was groped by a senior prosecutor at a funeral in the presence of then Justice Minister. But I could not formally lodge complaints to the authorities at the prosecutor's office. South Korean Prosecutor's Office is such a conservative organization where victims of sexual abuse who speak out face relentless bullying and are stigmatized as someone who is difficult to work with. So I gave up on filing a formal complaint to the authorities and sent an informal message to my abuser through mutual acquaintances that the only thing I wanted was a personal apology from him. Nearly a decade has passed since then. I have not received any apology from him yet. Rather, my abuser won a series of promotions to become a powerful official who handled the promotions of other prosecutors. From then on, I suffered a series of career setbacks that was unheard of in the history of the prosecutor's office. But even then, I could not possibly imagine coming forward to publicly criticize the prosecutor's office, a move that was unheard of in the history of the prosecutor's more than 100 years history. So, I sought help from many members of the legal community, but no one was willing to help because my abuser is one of the most popular men in the prosecutor's office. They kept telling me, there's no way to change the public eye. Just leave the prosecutor's office before you get hurt even more. But I still wanted to solve the problem within the organization. So I even sent an email to the Justice Minister and requested a meeting with him. I had a meeting with a senior official designated by the minister, but my pleas for help fell on deaf ears, and my voices were met with stern silence. I could not take the situation any longer and reached a point where I thought I could no longer work as a prosecutor. So, as a last resort, I posted an article that detailed all the hardship I had endured on online community for the prosecutors. As the news of my article quickly spread, one TV station contacted me for an interview, which I accepted. I was full of fears when I went to the TV station for the unheard of interview. I had no idea how my interview would be viewed by the general public. I thought I may not be work as a prosecutor anymore, may not be work even as a lawyer after being labeled as a troubled agitator. I may spend the rest of my life at home unable to go outside. But part of me also thought that all these risks may be worth taking if my action could prevent younger female prosecutors from facing the same fate I did, and if my action could help reform the corrupt prosecutor's office. After the interview, I was flooded by messages of support and solidarity from people from all walks of life. The outpouring of support from so many people stunned me, but people told me that my Me Too revelation left them and the whole society even more shocked. In South Korea, prosecutors are seen as enormously powerful officials with huge political power. So they say they never imagined that even a prosecutor could fall victim to sexual abuse. But my revelation showed that even such a powerful professional could fall victim to sexual abuse and could be forced into silence for nearly 8 years. And during my interview, I told other victims of sexual abuse that what happened to them is never their fault. Many women tearfully approached me after the interview, saying my message gave them so much consolation and courage and made them realize they were not alone. My revelation opened the floodgate. Countless women soon came forward to speak out against sexual abuse by powerful figures in the field, literature, culture, sports, to politics and education under the banner of Me Too and With You. Here are a brief list of powerful men accused of sexual abuse and victims in the wake of Me Too movement in South Korea. And images of school Me Too occurred in more than 70 schools. As you can see, South Korea's Me Too movement is arguably the most vibrant and vigorous in Asia and beyond. But the growing voices of women calling for change also met with growing backlash. Now, many men complain that they are unfairly seen as potential criminals. Now, many Korean men are saying, let's avoid having any interactions with women. They say, not only South Korea has already achieved full gender equality, but also South Korean women these days enjoy far more privileges than men. Thus, feminism is no longer needed in the country. But has South Korea really achieved full gender equality? Or has any of the countries in the world? I can't say about the other countries, but I can say with certainty that I can tell you that South Korea still has a long, long way to go. South Korea is famous for the passion for education, and girls out the boys in many scholastic achievement tests with in many scholastic achievement tests with 72% of female high school graduates going to college, higher than 65% for boys. But despite all the achievement, South Korea still has the highest gender pay gap of 37% among the OECD member nations. It is the only country among the OECD member nations over 30% of gender pay gap. Yes. In the Glass Ceiling Index published by Economist last year, South Korea ranked the lowest. Meanwhile, women account for only 3% of senior executive positions in the country's top 500 companies, or just only 6.7% of senior positions at government agencies. In the prosecutor's office I'm working, women occupy only 2.5% of senior positions. Meanwhile, women account for more than 85% of victims of hard crimes. But for the past 3 years, more than 65% of convicted of sexual abuse received relatively light punishment, such as fine or suspended jail term. And these figures may be just a tip of the iceberg, as only up to 6% of victims of sex crime are believed to report the crimes to the authorities. Domestic abuse is also a serious issue. Only about 37% are report their cases to the police, but even if they do so, only 0.8% of the abuser are taken into custody by the police. Does anyone know the meaning of this number? During recent 7 years, at least 739 women were killed by husband or romantic partners. But this may be the only a tip of the iceberg, because these figures is just based on the cases reported by local media or told by women's rights group. There is not even official data on such killings. In particular, the so-called digital sex crime is also, such as spy porn or revenge porn videos, are making headlines on a daily basis. The daily lives of ordinary women, or the most private happy moment with their lovers, are consumed as porn. And countless women have committed suicide in despair, but still, only 2.7% of the perpetrators of such image-based sex crimes are formally arrested during an investigation. Many victims of sexual abuse joined the Me Too campaign, but many of them were sued by their own abuser for defamation or false accusation. As a matter of fact, a key demand of most Korean women is not should be equal to men, but rather, please do not kill women, do not beat women, or do not rape women. But these pleas often fail on their ears, as many men ridicule women as making things up or exaggerating the reality. Now, does it look like South Korea has already achieved full gender equality? Do you think that women enjoy more privileges than men, and the country does not need feminism? I once had a dream. While I was growing up, my father used to tell me all the time, life is a journey to create your own destiny. Fly high to pose your own happiness. I wanted to become a prosecutor whose job is seeking justice. And I thought I had finally achieved my dream when I passed by exam. But once I became a prosecutor, I constantly reminded that I am just only one of a female prosecutor. And I was even told by a senior prosecutor that a female prosecutor is worth only a half of a male prosecutor. About 100 years ago, in 1893, the New Zealand government enacted a law to give women rights to vote. A fact we learn in history classes and make for granted now, but there's nothing automatic about the landmark change. It was a result of the efforts by countless women, including more than 1,000 women who went to prison, and the women who even sacrificed her own life to make that happen. Nearly 100 years have passed since then, but we are still faced with this dire reality in which threats of sexual abuse and gender inequality remain pervasive. Rights to be safe from sexual abuse and rights not to be discriminated against remain an elusive goal among women in many parts of the world. Again, I have a dream. My dream is living in a world. My dream is not living in a world where Me Too campaign becomes widespread, but living in a world where Me Too campaign is no longer necessary. My dream is living in a world where women are not killed, beaten, or sexually abused because of their gender, and live in a world where our children are judged not based on their gender, but based on their talents and efforts. And I also hope our children will be living in a world where a word of feminism is no longer a dirty word. Until the day comes, the journey of Earth, including South Korean women and myself, for justice and gender equality will never stop. Thank you. 谢谢。
Thank you very much, Mrs. Howe. Thank you very much for your moving testimony. Moving indeed. How did Pink look on me? So everybody's been asking to take my picture today. Now's your moment. Also, I want to take this moment to talk to you about my jumpsuit. Do you like it or do you not? This is Taiwanese design. I bought it in Taipei. So if anybody goes to Taipei, you can shop till you drop, never stop, because everything was just fantastic out there. I thought I'd say that. Taiwanese design. So lovely people, we've been keeping a real big treat up our sleeve. A speaker of immeasurable stature, a playwright, an author of best-selling books, a feminist to the core, really, and an activist who revolutionized how the world looks at the vagina. I'm not sure I want the world to look at my vagina, but still it was a big feat that she did with her play, The Vagina Monologues. I was actually fortunate enough to play woman number 3 in the Dutch version of The Vagina Locks, and I can tell you, it was extremely liberating to play that. So since then, our guest has moved on. She has launched the V-Day and the 1 Billion Rising movements, and she's produced stunning books and plays like The Body of the World, Emotional Creature, and her most recent work, The Apology. It is such a joy and a huge honor to introduce you to Eve Ensler.
To honor Chi and everybody who has put on, at Garden of Hope, who has put on this amazing weekend. Can we just take a moment? I just want to say a couple things up front. When I use the word woman, I mean to include all women, straight, bi, gay, trans, non-binary, queer, genderqueer, agender, and gender fluid. And everything I say here today is an offering, not a prescription. Take what works for you and leave the rest. It is a profound privilege joy, and blessing to be in a room with frontline workers, with extraordinary women and men who have run, opened, kept open, sustained, built, improved, expanded shelters to protect and heal women all around the world. Thank you. I feel like I'm in the midst of a secret society which has literally been holding up the world. I know how hard this work is. I know the suffering you have witnessed and felt and allowed into your bodies and hearts and psyches. I know how much your health has suffered. I know how hard it is to fight day in and day out for legitimacy, for the powers that be to value your work, to support your work, to recognize your work. I know how tiring and defeating it is to be searching for funds day in and day out, when the cause of your work is so evidently vital and crucial, and every budget and every country should be spending more on the well-being and protection and uplifting of women than they are on bombs and guns and weapons of destruction. To witness year after year, woman after woman face insane violence, degradation, humiliation, and sometimes murder, without the world crying out in pain and joining you en masse in the struggle to end violence. So I really want to take this moment. I'm so happy I have this moment to bow to you, to celebrate you, to say, I see you, I know you. And I know millions of women across this planet would have been lost or dead without you. Can we all just take a moment to love ourselves, to appreciate each other? Can you actually turn to the person next to you and give them a hug and say thank you right now? Misogyny. And we know in the midst of these terrible conditions, women are always the first to be impacted. Whether it's the selling of women's bodies through sex trafficking, or the rise in femicide and domestic violence in places as varied as France, where I just was. And I want to tell you, already this year, 114 women have already been killed by their spouses or partners. Or in places like Spain, or Mexico, South Africa, Brazil, the United States, the list is endless. Whether it's the use of rape as a systematic weapon of war. But I also know that it is the escalation of these terrors demands an escalation of our bravery, our passion, imagination, joy, and fierce warrior spirit. So today I want to talk about where do we go now? How this is the moment to move into the next stage of our movement and radicalize ourselves and our shelters. This is the moment to support women who have suffered the greatest violence to become the greatest leaders of love and social change. As a survivor of enormous violence, I have been part and blessed to be part of a worldwide movement of women warriors called V-Day, which for the past 22 years has faced violence with courage and community. Rather than responding to violence with more violence, rather than killing ourselves and disappearing, we, the millions of us who have survived, have turned our pain into power. And I just want to say, all the people sitting in this room, we are the women warriors. And there's some ingredients that define us. We are fierce, we are obsessed, we can't be stopped, we're driven, we're not motivated by the need for fame or money, but the desire to make sure that what happened to us doesn't happen to any other woman. We are no longer afraid. We are often more willing to face anything for the safety and freedom of others, and we love to dance. We are citizens of another world, a world that we know is coming, where women are rising, we cherish humanity over nationhood, we have a wicked sense of humor. We are done being victims. We know that no one is coming to rescue us, and we would not want to be rescued. We have experienced our rage, depression, desire for revenge, and we have transformed them through grieving, through service. We live in our bodies. We are community makers. We bring everyone in. We know that the process of healing from violence is long and happens in stages, and sometimes it can happen all at once. We are the new breed of women, the love warriors who have passed through the pain and the wound. There is no one stronger than us on this planet, and like the phoenix, it is our time to rise. So, we probably have 1 billion warriors now across the planet, and we have the shelters. Here in this room, we have the network. We must ask ourselves now, how do we transform our shelters into revolutionary centers? How do we do that? Our safe houses into centers of political power. How do we move from offering solely social service to include and emphasize social justice? How do we weave a broader tapestry of issues, trans issues, migration, climate crisis, poverty, racism, xenophobia, workers' rights, into the work of ending violence, because all of these violences are connected and at the root and will expand and catalyze a wider, more powerful network for change. And I know, of course, many of you are already doing this. I have been disturbed for a very long time by the fact that women who are beaten and traumatized in their homes are the ones who are forced to leave, rather than the men who are beating them. But then I realized, now is the moment to take advantage of this, to leverage it. I have been blessed to have been on the life-altering journey, as you heard from my amazing, brave, powerful sister, Christine Chula, describe her yesterday. I've been amazed and just so moved to be on the adventure of co-founding City of Joy with her and Dr. Denis Mukwege. This process, this imagining, this co-creation with the women of Congo has birthed a most extraordinary place in consciousness. The model of City of Joy is turning pain to power, moving women from victims to survivors to leaders. The combination of offering sanctuary and healing, art in the form of dance and song, combined with the teaching of women their rights, self-defense, agriculture, leadership skills, is a winning trifecta. The alchemy of healing, art, and activism. Healing, art, and activism. When they are joined in a fluid process, miracles truly begin to happen. Rather than seeing shelters as only places that hide women, City of Joy heals them and educates them, inspires them to become totally visible in the life and in their communities. Its mission is to marshal and direct the trajectory of recovery into new social and political power. Women who come to City of Joy must commit to sharing what they have learned in their own communities, becoming leaders who bring other suffering women transformation. At the core is an understanding, and I know all of you know this, that one woman's healing is interwoven with her sisters and spins out to become a force for the radicalization of every survivor in their community. I'm not only recovering from myself, I'm not only facing my trauma and wound for my own betterment, but it is always imminently connected to my sister's transformation as well. This not only gives one courage, but also meaning. Capitalism and patriarchy are based on competitive individualism and soul fragmentation. This system leads us to believe that our own suffering is based on our individual failures. Something must be wrong with me or bad with me. But in fact, violence against women is the methodology that sustains racist patriarchy. And it is systemic, so our response must be collective and political. We must now move from solely focusing on healing and protecting the individual woman to healing and transforming the entire ecosystem that is predicated on violence towards women's bodies and the body of the earth. So, healing. I've been both moved and educated to see that the therapy of City of Joy is mainly done in groups. The belief is that a woman cannot heal unless the community heals, and each of our healing is connected to the healing of our sisters. Healing is then seen as a personal, social, cultural, and political act. We recover with and for and because of each other. When our recovery is linked into the tapestry of others, then we always have a place to turn to, and we are mutually responsible for each other's well-being. In fact, the guiding principles at City of Joy, 2 of them are, give what you want the most, and treat your sister's life as if it were your own. Activism is a source of powerful healing. When women can give what they need the most, they heal the broken parts inside. When women who have suffered blows of annihilation can see themselves having an impact on the world, their sense of being and meaning is restored. Their self-confidence is increased, and they become connected to reality beyond their own pain and suffering. When women leave City of Joy, they are leaders. From the time they are vetted, they must commit to bringing what they have learned back to their community. This commitment gives an extra incentive from the beginning to recover as they have a higher purpose. Violence often creates desolation, depression, and despair. Knowing you have a higher mission keeps you from falling under. Art, theater, storytelling, dance, song, poetry allows women to turn poison into medicine. I have watched at City of Joy women make songs out of unimaginable cruelty and pain. How through their creative impulses they make magic and beauty and inspiration. The work of creativity of art is the work of making the invisible visible, giving shape and meaning and sound and voice to what happens in the dark. It gives the artist agency. It creates wholeness out of cruelty. I've seen women at City of Joy put our 10 guiding principles to song, and how they dance and sing that song until the principles are ingrained in their beings. I've watched how dance is central to their daily activity, and how they release trauma all day long and find the deepest joy, which then spreads out through the entire environment. I cannot overstate the power of joy, and dance is a direct pathway to both the release of rage and trauma and the escalation of joy. The last piece I want to add is men. Men, unless they change, we will be doing this work for at least the next 8 years if climate catastrophe falls upon us. And honestly, I have to say, if we do not link our struggles to end the violence against women's body with the violence we are doing against the earth, there will be no future. But unless men change, unless men understand that this is their movement, violence against women has never been a woman's issue. It turns out we don't rape ourselves. We took this issue on because we're very generous and because we always fill in the gaps when things aren't being done. But now is the time for men to join us in this struggle. I was sexually abused by my father from the time I was 5 until the time I was 10. Then my father physically battered me regularly and almost murdered me several times until I left home. Someplace deep inside, I really believe my father was going to wake up one day out of his narcissistic, belligerent blindness, see me, feel me, and understand what he had done. That he would then step into his deepest, truest self and finally apologize. Guess what? It didn't happen. And yet the yearning for that apology never went away. It's 31 years since my father died. For over 22 of those years, I have spent my life struggling day in and day out to end violence against all women and girls. I have watched as women break the silence, share their stories, face attack, doubt, humiliation, open and sustain shelters, start hotlines. I've been part of a movement that is 70 years old, begun by African American women fighting off the rape of slave owners and white supremacists. I've witnessed the recent iteration of Me Too. I've seen a few men lose their jobs or standing, a couple go to prison, a few face public humiliation, but honestly, in all that time, I've never seen or heard any man make a thorough, sincere, public apology for sexual or domestic abuse. As a matter of fact, in 16,000 years of patriarchy, I've never read or seen a public apology by a man for sexual or domestic abuse. It occurred to me then that there must be something pretty central and critical about an apology. So I decided I wasn't waiting anymore. I was going to climb into my father and let him come into me, and I was going to write his apology to me, to say the words, to speak the truth that I needed to hear. This was a profound and excruciating and ultimately incredibly liberating experience. In the process, I learned the significance of an apology and the profound transformation and healing that can come from it. I learned what a true apology is: a process, a sacred commitment, a wrestling down of demons, a confrontation with our most concealed and controlling shadows. I learned that an apology has 4 stages, and all of them must be honored. The first is the willingness to self-interrogate, to delve into the origins of your being. What made you a man who became capable of committing rape or harassment or degradation or violence? To investigate what happened in one's childhood, family, culture. In my father's case, he was the last child, the accident that became the miracle. He was adored. But adoration is not love. Adoration is a projection of someone's idealized self-image onto you, forcing you to live up to their image at the expense of your own humanity. My father was never allowed to be tender, vulnerable, full of wonder, doubt, yearning. He was never allowed to cry. All those feelings had to be stifled, pushed down, and in doing so, they metastasized and eventually became what he called the shadow man, this buried creature who later surfaced as a monster. The second stage of an apology is a detailed accounting and admission of what you have actually done. Details are critical because liberation only comes through the details. Your accounting cannot be vague. It cannot be like, I'm sorry if I hurt you. I'm sorry if you feel bad. It cannot even be, I'm sorry if I sexually abused you. Those words do not mean anything. One must say what actually happened. Then I grabbed you by your hair and bent you over. Then I beat you and beat you against the wall. The investigation into details includes unmasking your real intentions and admitting them. I belittled you because I was jealous of your power and I wanted you to be less. Survivors are haunted by the why. Why would my father want to kill his own daughter? Why would my best friend drug and rape me? There is a difference between explanation and justification. Knowing the origin of a perpetrator's behavior helps create understanding. One of the hardest things writing this book was how deeply I didn't want to feel my father's pain. I didn't believe he had earned the right for me to feel his pain. But I remained connected to him through my anger. I was a permanent victim to his perpetrator. I was stuck in a paradigm that he had designed. As my father's mother told my father, anger is a potion you mix for a friend but you drink yourself. Feeling my father's pain and suffering, ironically, was the thing that released me from his paradigm. The third stage is opening your heart and being and allowing yourself to feel what your victim felt when you were abusing her. Allowing your heart to break, allowing yourself to feel the nightmare inside her, the betrayal and the horror, and then allowing yourself to see and feel and know the long-term impact of your violation, what happened in her life because of it, who did she become or not become because of your actions. And the fourth stage, of course, is taking responsibility for your actions, making amends. All of these steps indicating you have undergone a deep and profound experience that has changed you and made it impossible for you ever to repeat this behavior again. So why would anyone want to undergo such a grueling and emotional process? The answer is simple: freedom. No one who commits violence or suffering upon another is free of that action. It contaminates one's whole spirit and being, and without amends often creates more darkness, depression, self-hatred, and violence. The apology, the true apology, frees the victim, but it also frees the perpetrator, allowing them deep reflection and the ability to change their ways in life. And for those of you who cannot get an apology from a perpetrator, I have to tell you something. The experience of writing this apology to myself was a very profound and life-shifting experience. We all know that once we've been invaded by a perpetrator, if they've raped us, if they've harassed us, if they've degraded us, if they've done anything, they actually get inside us, and they live there. We often know our perpetrators better than we know ourselves, particularly if they're in our families. We learn how to read their footsteps and the sounds of their voices in order to protect ourselves. By writing my father's apology, I changed how my father lived inside me. I moved him from a monster to an apologist, a terrifying entity to a broken little boy. In doing so, he lost all power and agency over me. And I have to say, there was a moment at the end of the book when my father says, or I say, I don't really know who wrote this book, but my father says, "Old man, be gone." And I don't know if you ever saw Peter Pan, but there's a moment at the end when Tinkerbell just goes, shh. That's what happened. My father just went, shh, and he hasn't been back. The women at City of Joy have done this exercise, writing letters to themselves from their perpetrators, and the outcomes have been wildly transformative and healing. I believe it can be a profound tool in releasing one from victimization, but any survivor who embarks on this apology process needs support and love and should not do this alone. We cannot underestimate the power of our imaginations. It is our most astonishing tool in shifting the trauma and karma that has numbed or frozen our life force. And the deeper and more specific my imagining and conjuring in this book, the more liberation I experienced. My father is gone, he's not coming back. People have asked me throughout the tour of the book, what will it take to get men to want to apologize? This, of course, is the $25 million question. At one point in the book, my father told me that to be an apologist is to be a traitor to men. Once one man admits he knows what he did is wrong, the whole story of patriarchy will come crumbling down. So what we need now is for men to become willing gender traitors and to stand with us and apologize so we can all get free. Let me say in closing that I believe now is the moment on this planet where we're either going to disappear or we're going to actually evolve into a newer vibration, a higher vibration, and turn the world into a new direction. It is time to radicalize and activate the most powerful group of women, survivors on this planet, transforming them into a fierce, revolutionary love force that can remake this world. Now is the time to turn our shelters into not only places of protection, but places of insurrection. Now is the time for restorative justice through true apology and atonement and bringing men into the process. And now is the time to activate this extraordinary network of shelters, creating solidarity and strategies that move us from surviving to thriving, from hiding to taking center stage, from victims to leaders, ushering a new time on this planet. Now is the time to rise in our movement, 1 billion rising in our bodies, in our imaginations, to rise and in rising, raise the global vibrations so we come into our highest, most potent, most loving selves together. I honor every single person in this room, and it's our time. Be bold, be dangerous, be outrageous. Let's take back our planet. Thank you so much.
Fantastic, fabulous. Thank you. Eve, take them out. It's our stage.
Women have been through, who have been driven to work in shelters, work for women, turn violence around. You're all amazing. You figured out a way not to kill yourselves, not to do yourselves in, not to shoot somebody, but you turned all that energy into love and service and healing. That is miraculous. That is miraculous. And that is real power, not the power they're talking about. That is real power.
That is the power.
That's power.
There is this new generation of feminists, they're 20, they're 30, they're they don't have the patience that you and I did. Does that help not be patient?
I think people should be very impatient. I love Greta Thunberg. I love her. I love all these young climate activists. We don't have time, folks. If the scientists are right, we have 8 years, really, to reverse climate catastrophe. And I honestly believe there is nothing separating what is being done to women's bodies and what is being done to the earth. It is the same plundering, it is the same pillaging, it is the same exploitation, and it is the same hate of life. We have to understand that these are intrinsically connected. And one of the things that's so beautiful at City of Joy is to see how when women are recovering, they are recovering with the land. Their recovery is intimately bound with growing and life force and birds and pigs and cows and tilapia, and it's all part of the same story. And those divisions that were made between our bodies and the land were patriarchal divisions, and they were made to keep us from our true life force and power, and now we have to reweave that story.
So what will that mean for the hegemony of, let's say, white men in the world? Because they do the most of
it. Seems like it.
They do. So that realization, you know, I know, because we feel it. What if everybody knows and feels it? What happens then?
I think really right now, and this is something, I kind of had this vision about 3 months ago. I was floating above the United States, and it was really strange. I was looking down on it, and the whole country was dark, except for a few lights. And I just got this voice that came to me, and it just said, you will never beat them with their tools. You will never be cruel as they are. You will never be as mean as they are. You will never be as selfish as they are. You will never be as malicious as they are. You will never beat them under. What we all have to do is raise the vibration. We have to go to a higher space, which women, we know in our bodies, we know in our beings.
Do you feel it?
Do you feel that in your bodies? It's intuition, it's imagination, it's life force.
It's love.
And it's freeing that life force, because violence has cauterized it and it's shut it down. And what we have, one of the reasons I believe in dancing is dancing frees that life force. It opens up that life force so we begin to see our way into a new future that we can imagine.
So dancing, you're just doing my script, I love you for that. 1 Billion Rising, that is you came up with it, you're the founder of it. It's a campaign to end rape, right? So 1 in every 3 women in the world ever will be beaten or raped at least one time in her life. These figures are absurd. So how can your campaign help?
Well, I think about it this way. It's horrible beyond measure that 1 billion women on the planet have been beaten or raped. But there are 1 billion warriors on the planet who can turn this around. And that's what we have to keep imagining. If all of the 1 billion women plus rose up en masse on a particular day and refused to go on, everything would change overnight. So I feel like we're building towards that, and we've got to start building faster towards it. Whether it's a strike, whether it's a walkout, whether it's a refusal, we all know the world we want. It's not a world where people are starving. It's not a world where 35 people own all the money in the world. It's not a world where we treat migrants like they're animals, but instead we welcome them and we bring them into our homes and our hearts. It's not a place where we otherize people and destroy people on the basis of their skin or their religion or their ethnicity. It's not a place where we don't cherish our earth. And I know all of us feel that. So how do we stand for that in full power and without guns, without violence? And that's what we've got to call up now. That is what the future is calling us to do.
I think we should start doing it.
Yes.
Do the 1 Billion Rising with Monique Wilson.
Yes, Monique Wilson, the director of 1 Billion Rising.
So Monique, I just need to know, because I have a scientific heart. This dancing, we all agree that it helps us, to beat oppression. But how does that work?
Well, consider this, and everyone knows it here who's working in shelter systems or are activists. They're trying to diminish our power by the violence done to our bodies, right? So what we have to do now via dancing is to reclaim that power back. I mean, this vessel, I mean, you've already said it, this vessel is a sacred, holy, powerful vessel. And they have diminished it with misogyny, patriarchy, systems all over the world. So what we have to do is reclaim our sexuality back with no shame and no stigma, and that is the first step to raising our vibration.
Right?
Do you think? Do you agree?
Yeah.
We reclaim our sexuality, we dance freely, we become sexual creatures with no apology, and we change the world with our body.
Take it away, girl. Let's just do it. Let's just show them how it works.
Let's change 1 Billion Rising, and I think let's welcome our amazing global 1 Billion Rising coordinators who are here in Taiwan with us, from Bangladesh, Kushi, Kamla from South Asia, Alba from India, we have from the Philippines, Cambodia, Mongolia, Japan, we have from Myanmar, we have from Thailand, we have from so many countries, Singapore, and of course, we have to meet everyone from wonderful Mama City, Hong Kong. Hong Kong, we have amazing Hong Kong activists. And if you are a 1 Billion Rising activist, you know great to shake. Come up on stage with us. Come on. And some amazing dancers here from Taiwan. Let's give them a big hand. Okay, you gotta stand up too and dance. Come on, we're gonna dance and free our bodies, raise the vibration. We're gonna rise for resisting life, and we're gonna rise to change the world. Are we ready? Okay, let us rise, break the dance, and show our solidarity. Let's go. And we have a video behind, so if you get lost in the steps, it doesn't matter. We just dance. Okay, let's play it. Ready? Yes.
So for the introduction of the dance, we are going to improv and internalize the music.
Oh, no, we don't have the one in the copy. Let's play the one in
At
the
the end,
copy.
they go.
Okay, I think we need to fast forward. We just show break the chain. The one without the talking. We don't need words anymore, right? We just need our bodies.
So for the introduction of the dance, we are going to improv and internalize the music. Have fun with it though.
Okay, we'll just warm up. Warm up before we get to the actual dance.
1, 2, 3, 4, step out, step up. 1, 2, 3, 4, oh.
Okay.
begin by improvising, slowly to the beginning of the song. On my knees, I pray. I'm not afraid anymore. I will walk through that
Thank you so much. And just like I said, we have the Minister of Foreign Affairs with us this afternoon. For the 4th World Conference of Women's Shelters to be held for the first time in Asia, in Taiwan, in Kaohsiung. We really have had a lot of help and support from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and next I would like to invite the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Zhao Xie Joseph Wu. He's going to dance to the stage. That's going to keep the party going. I'm just kidding. Come on up, Dr. Wu. 让我们掌声欢迎外交部吴孝宪部长。1 billion rising. Dr. Wu, the stage is yours right now. Please. Thank you so much for coming. We are, yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry, singing and dancing is not part of my job. I enjoy what just happened. Madam Ji Huidong, Chair of the Global Network for Women's Shelter, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It is my great honor to attend the closing ceremony of the 4th World Conference of Women's Shelter. It is wonderful to see more than 1,000 people, mostly females, from 100 countries gathering here to discuss the important issues of how to improve women's shelters and to end violence against women. And the fact that I'm here shows that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from Taiwan is with you. And the fact that this conference is held in Taiwan is to tell you that Taiwan stands firmly with you. And I can tell you it's not easy to be surrounded by more than 1,000 females, prominent leaders in the world. On behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Taiwan, I want to convey my congratulations to the success of this important global conference, and also to wish to thank the Global Network of Women's Shelters and Garden of Hope Foundation for having me here. The theme of this year's conference, Impact Solidarity, is to echo the joint efforts to ensure gender equality across borders and to be free of political and social interference. I'm very proud to tell you that Taiwan has made remarkable progress on gender equality in recent years. And I'm sure you all know that we have a female president. That's not easy. And we have about 40% of our legislators that are women. And it's also the same for our county and city mayors. And I can tell you in my workplace, I'm surrounded by colleagues of mine who are females. And I can also tell you the trends of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on the division chief officers. They are leadership level. More than 50%, I think it's around 57% of them are females. And you can imagine, in a few years, we not only will have a female president, but also majority of our parliament females, and also majority of our diplomats females. And that is something that we are looking forward to. And watch out, men like me is going to become a minority. In spite of international recognitions on Taiwan's endeavors to ensure the protection of human rights and gender equality, my government will continue to work closely with other like-minded countries and partners to make further progress in this regard through the platforms such as Taiwan-US Global Cooperation and Training Framework, or GCTF. In fact, under this framework, we have held 4 workshops on gender equality, women's access to technology, female leadership, and women's economic empowerment over the past 4 years, demonstrating our government's firm commitment. And in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we are working together with some of our allies to set up funds to help women's economic empowerment, and we are very proud to be able to do that. And with our European friends, Taiwan and the EU have a 3-year framework program for the promotion of gender equality and human rights. This framework program already started with the gender mainstream workshop in June and the LGBTI seminar in October this year. Both workshops were well received both home and abroad. And I'm very glad that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is able to make small contributions to all these workshops and to the event that we are having this couple of days in Kaohsiung. And in closing, I want to once again welcome you to Taiwan. I hope that you will take this opportunity to experience our diversified culture and the warm hospitality of our people. And I hope you have a chance to explore more than just Kaohsiung. Welcome to Taiwan. Welcome to Kaohsiung. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Minister of Foreign Affairs. I have just a few words to say to you. Yes, give them a round of applause. Thank you so very much. Thank you very much for being here. It's an honor. Your presence here validates what we are doing here. So we opened the 4WCWS with an amazing dance group called Liang Liang, remember them? Yes. Led by director Tsuo Haichie. And they have prepared a closing dance that will absolutely send shivers up and down your spine. I'm telling you, please enjoy. Listen to the wind.
我们掌声欢迎梁亮给我们带来闭幕演出。
Iya, at the end of the 3 days. I feel really sad to say goodbye. We have had a wonderful time together. We have inspired each other, encouraged each other, hugged each other, and loved each other. Tomorrow you will join the study tours, side events, and other activities. Then we will go back to our own homes. But I believe that we have done together here, we will stay with us with a long time. And the solidarity we have built will last lifetimes. Here at the WCWS, we launched new Global Helpline project. Thanks to your effort, we now have data from how many countries? 59 countries. Yes. Let's keep working together so that no matter where you go, there will always be a number to call if you need it. This week, we were all encouraged by our sister from Hong Kong. Their fight against oppression and sexual violence is an inspiration to us. Yes. To continue to stand with Hong Kong, we needed to fight back together, be stronger together, and make a real impact together. We have shown real solidarity at this conference. Over 1,400 people registered from almost 100 countries. When so many peoples come together, new creative and energy will be made. We must turn that into real advocacy and real impact. At the WCWS, we have also seen a vision for real homes. In the Congo, Japan, Australia, Estonia, Mexico, and Taiwan, and all over the world, women are creating real homes. A real home is a place that a woman can call her home and can heal themselves and have support where she feels safe. The real home is a permanent place that mother and the children can go back anytime they want. A real home is a place we can grow together and live together in peace. We don't have to worry about being thrown out by our landlord, forced to leave to shelter because of lack of the funding, moved on by developers, or deported by the authorities. So let's keep working together to build solidarity until we stop violence against women and children. And let's keep working together to create a sustainable world where we can live in peace and equally. Thank you.
this conference.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, I had such a wonderful couple of days here. I made so many friends, I got so many hugs, and I will never forget this experience here. So let's continue on the path that we have just started on. Work towards a world where women are each other's ally and can live in no fear and can raise their children in peace. This is what I would wish for all of us. Raymond.
I guess I just want to say thank you so much. As one of the very few men in this room, I don't know why, I feel so welcomed. Huh? Yeah, imagine if it's a woman in a predominantly male environment, how intimidating and how unfriendly it could be.
Exactly.
But these few days, all I have is love, support, and laughter. So once again, thank you so much for making me a part of this transcendent experience, making me a part of this, making a part of you people.
Let's raise the blue.
I got choked up.
Of course you did, we all did. I've been crying all afternoon. So thank you all for traveling to Taiwan. Let's meet again somewhere else and do this all over again. It's been fantastic.